When I was a teenager, I became a teenager. That was when I began to face discrimination. And so in Ghana, sometimes you are walking on the streets and people talk about you as if you are not hearing them. In secondary school, I was faced with another level of difficult life situation. And so nobody cared about me. I recoiled back into my shells. I became timid. Nobody cared to know how I was able to get to the fifth floor or the sixth floor. Some students used to make fun of me about my disability. I fell down and people started running over me. They started stepping on me. Everybody ran away and I was left to my fate in the hall. People saw me and they made funny comments like, who brought this one to Germany? What is she coming to do here in Germany? They wanted to pick me from the hospital to deport me. The surgeon came and asked me why I was crying. So he said, "Pat, you are not crying because you will be deported back to Ghana." I said, "What?"
What happens when the world keeps telling you what you can't do? Today's guest knows that feeling all too well. Today I'm joined by Veronica Lomfa Amartey-Owusu. She's the founder of the Challenged Foundation, an advocate, a speaker, and a woman on a mission to change how the world sees disability. Growing up in Ghana, she faced discrimination, but that was only the beginning. Years later, after moving to Germany, she encountered a different kind of discrimination. Different country, different culture, but same question. Would she allow other people's limitations to define her future? Somewhere along the way, Veronica discovered something powerful, and that is the obstacle wasn't her disability. It was the beliefs, the assumptions, and the barriers placed around her. If you have ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or defined by circumstances you didn't choose, then this conversation is definitely for you. Veronica shares how acceptance, resilience, and faith helped her turn life's hardest moments into a mission that's changing lives. So let's dive in.
My mom narrated to me how I became disabled. At age 4, I used to get sick. And so one time she took me to the hospital. I was given an injection. And so we came back home. Coming back home in the night, I wanted to visit the loo. And she tried to lift me up. And she realized I was paralyzed from my waist downwards. And so that is how it started. The misfortune started. And at that early age, in fact, age 4, you bear with me that I wouldn't actually know what happened. But from age 11 going, then I began to face the realities of disability. I remember at a school going age, we had to walk distance to school. And so I was among children and nobody thought about my disability. I had to walk with all of them. It was quite a distance and life was really difficult for me. When I was a teenager, I became a teenager. That was when I began to face discrimination. And you can bear with me that at every stage in life, you experience different types of experiences. And so in Ghana, sometimes you are walking on the streets and people talk about you as if you are not hearing them. People would, instead of your name, people would describe you with names like the sister with crutches, the sister in a wheelchair. They never mention your name. And so people describe you with your disability more. And accessibility was also at the time a great problem in Ghana. I remember anytime I wanted to write on the blackboard, that's how we called it at the time, I needed to be lifted up, to be carried by somebody to enable me to write on the blackboard. Then I moved to secondary school. It was a difficult decision for my parents to make because they were thinking of how I'll be able to live a life of independence without them. But they had no other choice than to send me to secondary school. Secondary school, I was faced with another level of difficult life situation. And so we had a bathhouse, a bathroom. I was in a boarding school, a very big one. And the floor was always slippery. I cannot count the number of times that I fell down in the bathhouse. Nobody cared about me. Now, my school teacher once made denigrating statements about my disability. At the time, there was one subject that was compulsory, which was agriculture. And it was difficult. That subject required pupils or students to visit the farm or a garden once in a while to weed. And that was something that was really difficult for me to do. And then one day, the teacher made this denigrating statement that if I'm unable to go to the farm to weed or to participate with some of those activities, then I don't belong to that classroom. And that was something that had an everlasting impact or effect on my life. I recoiled back into my shells. I became timid. And so in Ghana, in fact, life actually taught me endurance. Life taught me strength. Life taught me that I needed to survive with courage. When I went to tertiary institution, I don't want to mention the name of the school. It was another hurdle for me. Sometimes we have to climb stairs, several ones, to write exams. And you'll be surprised for you to go to the fifth seat floor. And then they'll come back to tell you the class is full. And so you have to look for a different classroom to write the exams. Nobody cared about me. Nobody cared to know how I was able to get to the fifth floor or the sixth floor. By the time we found a class to write the exams, I would be tired, very tired, and even forget everything that I learned for the exams. Now, some students used to make fun of me about my disability also. They called me several names, and these were some of the things that made me very timid. I became vulnerable. I remember we were having entertainment, and so we were in a big hall, and this happened in the secondary school. There was lights out, blackout, and everybody was running. Again, nobody thought about me. Nobody came into my aid. I fell down, and people started running over me. They started stepping on me. Everybody ran away, and I was left to my fate in the hall. So later on, I managed to find my stick, and then I went out. Then I heard some of the students ridiculing me. That's the Apache. Apache is like a local funny name given to a person with disability in Ghana. So they said, "Where is the Apache?" She was left on her own. She was struggling on the floor, and they ridiculed me. They make fun of me. These were some of the things that I went through in Ghana. And then the opportunity came for me to migrate to Germany. I thought the struggles, the hurdles were over at the airport. But I got to Germany, and it was another level of difficult life situations that I had to grapple with. I was stuck for about 10 years. And one thing that also happened here, the kind of discrimination I face from the Ghanaian community is quite obvious. I don't know how to describe it, but it's different from what I face, the kind of discrimination and racism that I face in Germany. The one I faced from the institutions and individuals in Germany is subtle. You hardly notice it. You hardly see it. But the one I faced from the Ghanaian community is just like we do it back home in Ghana. People saw me and they made funny comments like, who brought this one to Germany? What is she coming to do here in Germany? As if I had no business in Germany. And at the time, I'll be looking around to find somebody like me, somebody who is also a person with disability, because some of the comments that come from them presupposes that Germany is not for persons with disability. So I used to look around and I don't find people. People will say, my partner actually brought me to Germany. And some who knows will tell you that maybe he brought me here to do, I don't know, that P word here. I don't want to mention the word because they don't think one will love a person with disability to the extent that he will bring here to Germany. In Germany, the major discrimination or exclusion that I face come from bus drivers. At my bus stop, it is not well built. And so sometimes the buses are too high for me. And instead of them to drive down, they will fight me. And I sometimes observed that when it is natives, when it has to do with natives from here, old people, they do that willingly. But when it comes to me, I struggle. And sometimes I'll make complaints, but they will come back to put the blame on me. Several times I made complaints. We have an office, discrimination and racism office, and I'll file some of the complaints over there, but they will still come back and lie on me. So the kind of racism and discrimination I face here doesn't directly have to do with my disability only. It comes as a result of my color and also the fact that I'm also a person with disability. So I face double discrimination here in Germany. Also, I'm a woman. And so 3 things I am dealing with at the same time.
Wow. It's amazing that in 2026, 2025, 2026, we're still having conversations like this. And just shows you how people have got a long way to go. And the thing that touches me about your story is it's a little bit close to home for me. It's not, I had a brother. He was involved in an accident at the age of 21. So now hearing you share this story, I'm now also wondering what other things was he going through and was not talking about. This has just really opened my eyes to see the amount of ignorance that is out there.
Yeah.
When did you realize that the world, looking back in Ghana, in Germany, when did you actually realize that the world is seeing you differently because of your disability? And before we even answer that question, people really need to realize that being a disability is not an inability. It's just that you're unable to do certain things, but it doesn't mean that you are incapable of doing doing things.
Yeah.
So when did you get to realize that because of where I am in life, because of this disability, I am being seen differently from everybody else?
It started, I told you my disability actually started at age 4. At that time, I didn't know anything. But when I became a teen, yeah, that is when I was faced with a reality of disability. I realized that it's like I don't fit in this world. I don't fit in any group. People will be having conversations, and then I would join, and everybody will keep quiet. I remember one time in tertiary institutions, I think after we finished, we completed, and we were supposed to do our national service. And so we were being given orientation, and we were shared into groups. We were put into groups to do it. But before then, there was this particular lady that all this while I was trying to be friends with her, to engage her in a conversation, and she wouldn't mind me. She wouldn't cooperate. She wouldn't speak to me. Then we were put into groups, and I don't know what happened. I became the group leader, and so I made the presentation on behalf of my group, and I led them to victory. We won. So this lady came back to me and she was like, Veronica, you've been trying all this while to speak with me, but I didn't give you any attention. Do you know why? I said, no. She said, I have heard that people like you, people with disability, are quick-tempered, and some of them are witches. And so I did not want to engage with you. But after this presentation, I realized how intelligent you are. And I said, oh, really? And sis, we became friends until I traveled to Germany. Here in Germany, it also happened. People will see you, and I don't know, you are stereotyped. They have kind of standard for you. It's either you are uneducated, you are poor, or you are not knowledgeable. And so until you open your mouth to speak, they don't want to engage you in anything because they think you are below their standard. And so this is what, and up until today, you really need to prove yourself to people. But I've stopped proving myself. I want people who resonate with me, people who will accept me as I am. I don't have to speak for people to know who I am. I don't have to prove myself. I don't have to, you know, I don't need that kind of validation from people anymore. You love me, you resonate with me, come with me. And so I stopped proving myself. So these are some of the things I faced. I realized it at very early stage of my disability. Yeah.
And this leads me to my next question regarding the way people would indirectly or directly make you feel. So, my question is, when you are constantly being told directly or indirectly what you can't do, how did that begin to affect the way you started seeing yourself? Because right now, I think you mentioned that you no longer allow things to affect you.
Yeah.
But back then, how did it affect the way you saw yourself based on what people think that you could not do?
So, due to the attitude of people towards me, I didn't see my value any longer. I felt like a fraud. There were times I felt like an imposter. I became timid. I didn't see any value in me. I do things, and if people do not congratulate me, I would think, oh, maybe I did not do well. I became vulnerable because of these attitudes from people. And sometimes there are even groups that I belong to. Because people see you in a different way, I became reserved. I became very quiet. I lacked confidence. So I needed that conscious effort to work on myself before I am becoming what I am becoming right now. But initially, I was just existing. I didn't know my purpose. In fact, I did not even know I have any purpose. And so I kind of all the time exclude myself. Do you understand? So in groups, I will not speak. I speak when I have to speak, when I'm spotted and a specific question has been thrown to me. Up till now, I think I have a bit of that. I still have a bit of that in me, but I'm still working on myself and I'm getting better all the time. So these are some of the effects that, discrimination, racism have had on my life.
And that's a very difficult position to be in when you don't know that you have a purpose, or you no longer believe or see yourself as someone with a purpose. Because I don't know if you agree with me, being in that position makes you see life like it's not even worth it anymore. Because I believe that it's our purpose that keeps us going. It's our purpose that gets us excited to wake up every morning. But when that is taken out of the picture, it's like you're just living life. Did you ever get to that point whereby you just felt like, I'm just here living, I'm just surviving this life?
It got to that, especially when I came to Germany, and for 10 years I was struggling with residence, and I was stuck. I was really stuck. And so I went through different kinds of life switches. But I held on to God. In fact, I still hold on to God. And it got to a point, I didn't want to go into depression. So, and I think that was during the Corona era. So I was thinking of what to do to discover myself, what to do to redefine my life. And so, fortunately, social media became the order of the day at that particular time. And so I was lonely. One day I said, why don't I jump on Facebook to start sharing my story?
Right.
And so this is the beginning of my story. I hopped on Facebook, and at the time I fumbled. I was also trying to learn the German language. There were a lot. I was grappling with difficult life situations. And so I fumbled when I spoke. And then I couldn't go back to school because I'm saying that I was actually stuck because of residence, disability, accident. I've had an accident also here. And so when I jumped on Facebook, I started listening to educative videos. I started reading, and then I started sharing my stories on Facebook. And it resonated with some people who got attracted to me. I mean, persons with disabilities. So we formed a group. We formed a group. And then I said, I could actually register this into a foundation, an NGO. So quickly, I registered that group. And so I founded the Challenged Foundation. And we started I started learning, developing myself. And anytime I learned anything new, I go back to organize sessions for people. And so this is how I rediscovered myself again. But I really got to that point where I felt like life was no more worth living. But faith kept me going. Faith in God kept me going. Yeah.
Wow. So did you ever feel like your life, did you ever feel like there was now a barrier that has been placed in front of you? Like there's no way I'm going to jump over this barrier.
Yes, I felt that way because sometimes I ask God, one person, what is it? One person, I have a disability. Nothing seemed to be moving in my life. I couldn't work. In abroad, even if your residence is not all that right and you are fit, you are not like me, there's a lot you could do. I want to code. my conversation here. But there's a lot that you could do. You could work. But
Yeah.
for me, it was impossible. It was impossible because, who do I identify with? Do you
Right.
understand? Who will employ
Mm.
me? Because I'm a special person. And so nothing was actually moving in my life. And so I thought that I'm a person with disability. I had struggled in Ghana only for me to get here and to encounter a new challenge, difficult life situation again. So I was asking God so many questions. But you see, there is strength in difficult life situations. It was in this same difficulty, it was in
Yeah.
these same challenges that I found strength. Resilience and pain, they work together. You need to experience pain to build resilience. Without pain, you cannot build resilience.
Wow. You need to experience resilience. No, you need to experience pain
Pain
in order to
build
build
resilience.
resilience. Because without pain, you are not able to build resilience.
No, not at all.
So we have to realize that those two things go hand in hand.
Exactly. They go hand in hand.
And I like your thought pattern on this whole thing. You really go to a position whereby you stop seeing yourself as a victim, but you started seeing the pain, the challenges, the barriers as tools to build your resilience, tools to build where you wanted to get to.
Yeah.
And I love that about your story because I believe so many people that are going to be listening to Veronica's story are going to really resonate with what she's saying. You might not have gone through the disability, but I believe there are certain circumstances that you're facing in your life right now, and you feel like you have a barrier. You don't know how to jump over that barrier. But like Veronica said, just remember the pain, the resilience, they work hand in hand. So whatever is going on in your life, it's not against you, it's happening for you. And those are tools that you can use to build in your own life. Thank you so much for sharing that, Veronica. Thank you so much. So let's talk about cultural differences, Veronica. You moved to Germany from Ghana. That means you have lived in very different cultures.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most? It could be the similarities or the differences between the challenges that you face in Ghana and the challenges that you faced in Germany.
Right. So the challenges, they come in different levels. The kind of challenges I went through in Ghana are quite different from the kind of challenges that I face in Germany. But also in Ghana, you are left on your own. Nobody cared about you. I love Ghana. I come from Ghana. But if you're a person with disability in Ghana, it is kind of survival of the fittest or survival for the fittest. Yes, you are left on your own. Nobody cares about you. You have to struggle. That is why I told you earlier on that in Ghana, living with a disability taught me resilience, how to develop resilience. It taught me endurance. It taught me to look at life beyond limitations. Now, in Germany, you face challenges, but you have a very strong support system. And so I always say it, the kind of support I have in Germany, I don't think I would have been able to survive without those support. I have a very strong support system, institutions and individuals who support me. For instance, even when I was struggling with residents, there was nothing, absolutely nothing that a person with disability should enjoy in Germany. I mean, the natives that I don't have. The only thing I was struggling with was residents, but I have a lot of support system. For instance, I have somebody that comes to me every week to support me when I go for shopping. And then there's also something we call Hauswirtschaft, cleaning support, because they know that, of course, I could not do some of those things on my own. So people come to support me at home to clean. And then when I had that terrible accident, I couldn't do anything. So at the time, I also got a support. They used to come and take care of me at home. So the difference between cultures, or I mean,
Yeah.
the challenges, they are not quite different. They are similar. But in Germany, you have a support system. Do you understand? But in Ghana,
Yeah.
you are left on your own. Nobody really cared about you. Yeah.
Wow. You just mentioned that you had an accident. Do you mind elaborating a little bit more on what kind of accident? What happened?
All right. So I was already a person with disability, but it was around the same period that I was struggling with residence. Every week I had to go to the foreign office. In fact, I was facing deportation at the time. They didn't care. And so on that fateful day, I was just packing my things. I was confused. I didn't know whether I should go back to Ghana or I should relocate to France or some other European country. And I've asked a Ghanaian boy to come and support me pack my things. I had just packed everything into a box and I wanted to ship them to Ghana and go back because the struggle was just too much. So after that activity that day, the guy, left. And then I picked a carton to dispose it. My sister, I don't know what happened. But mind you, I was already a person with disability. I fell down and broke my leg. I passed out when I fell. There was nobody around. And I even forgot that I was in Europe. And so I could call the Krankenwagen, how is it called in
Paramedics?
Yeah. I totally forgot. And so I started calling friends. And eventually there was somebody who kept. Then I also realized, I don't know if anybody come to my home at all, I'll not be able to get up to open the door. So I called a friend who was keeping a spare key. And he came immediately and called the paramedics. So I was here. The last thing I saw was that they were treating me. I passed out from there.
Wow.
Up in the hospital. And my sister, in the hospital, these people, the foreign office, they wanted to pick me from the hospital to deport me. I told a friend, and my friend, I was supposed to go to theater the following day. So the following day, the bandage has shifted from my leg. I was going through pain. I was crying. And then the surgeon came and asked me why I was crying. He said, my leg is paining me. So he said, but you are not crying because you'll be deported back to Ghana. I said, what? And so, he narrated to me how the foreign office called them to say that I'm facing deportation. And so, they wanted to deport me back to Ghana. And the doctor, I mean, he has to tell me. He told me that in Germany you don't deport people from the hospital. I need to get well soon. First, I need to get well first before. And so he's charging all the nurses that should these people come to the hospital, they should not allow that thing to happen. So I narrated this to my friend, and she suggested that I run away from the hospital. And I said, how am I going to? Already I'm a person with disability. I had broken the same leg. So where am I going? I said, I will stay. Whatever will happen should happen. I don't care anymore.
Wow. What an experience. What an experience, honestly. You would think that they would have given you enough time to, at least heal, recover, and then start talking about things like that.
Yeah, but they didn't even give me, after the surgery, it was around the corona era. And so I was discharged very early for people to take care of me at home. At home,
Yeah.
when I came, these people picked me from home, sent me to the Ghanaian embassy in Berlin. And on our way, I got sick. I was vomiting. But you know what God will do? My sister, if you are destined to live in a place, no matter what the devil does. When we got to the embassy, I got very sick on the way. I was vomiting. And so when we got back to the embassy, they were supposed to hand me over to the interview team because they were supposed to identify, to confirm my identity. Then,
Right.
so when I got in there, I started vomiting again. So I was given something to, and then there were 2 German representatives and 2 Ghanaians.
Yeah.
And before you get there, your file will be handed over to them. And so these 2 representatives from Ghana, apparently they come from where I come from in Ghana, Accra. And so they use our language to ask me certain questions. And they told me that I should speak the truth. People go there to lie, but they said I should speak the truth so that it will help me. And because of my name, they were able to tell that we come from the same hometown or whatever.
Yeah.
So these people, they saved me that day. They asked the Germans that somebody like this, they asked me whether I was already a person with disability before I came to Germany. Of course, I was, but I wasn't weak and I didn't have any accident at the time. So I was a bit stronger.
Yeah.
I was not even using a wheelchair at the time. So they asked them a question. So if you deport this woman back to Ghana, what is she going to do? Is she going to start life again? And remember, she's been living here for the past 10 years. And then these people were like this. We are sorry, but we are doing our work. And then they asked, could we postpone this interview?
Yeah.
And then eventually they postponed the interview. They asked me if I have a lawyer, I should get back. They should bring me back home and ask my lawyer to call them. Then I came back home, and some few months after this incident, there was a new government in Germany who passed a law that everybody who lived in Germany for more than 5 years should be given residence. And this is how it was.
I see how things worked together for your good in the end. What the enemy meant for evil. Wow. Wow. And you had gotten to a point whereby you said, you know what, whatever happens, happens.
Yes, because I was tired. I was tired. It was like God did not love me. It was like, because I'll be here, people will come and things will work very fast for them. I was already dealing with a disability, dealing with residents, and it was just too much for me. So I was just tired. The only thing I couldn't do was to do harm to myself. But I was really tired.
Wow, I can imagine for sure how tired you were. You had things you were dealing with already, the disability, and now you've just had an accident, and now they're piling this on you also in the hospital. I can absolutely imagine how tired you were.
I was really
So
tired.
let's talk about, yeah, definitely you were. Let's talk about your turning point, because I'm really curious about the turning point. Was there a moment when you stopped focusing on what society said was impossible for you to do, and you started defining life on your own terms? At what point did that happen for you?
Yes, so I think I narrated a bit of that. It was around 2019 when I had this accident. I stopped focusing on people. I told you I had redefined my life. I had rediscovered my life. And I realized that all those things that I was going through were a switching moment. This is how I got the title for my second book. They were not meant to be forever. I compared my life to that of a tree in Europe here. During the winter season, we see the trees shedding, the leaves fall, dry. But then, just like now, in summer, they rejuvenate. The leaves become green again. They gain energy. But during winter, when people are passing by these trees, nobody will even think that they will become green again. So I realized that all the things I was going through were just a season. They were switching moments. I stopped focusing on how people were treating me because I had rediscovered myself, I realized my value. And I know that God has a purpose for me. If He didn't have a purpose for me, I would have died because of the kind of things that I went through. My mom also narrated some to me. So I started facing my truths. Already, I had started journaling. I was writing my experiences, everything that I was going through. I started journaling then. Some of the things that also helped me, one of them was visualization and meditation. Do you understand? So I shifted my focus from people to myself. I started developing myself. And so it did not, whatever people they were doing to me, I know one day the same people, they will see my results. And instead of me to concentrate on some of those negativities from outside, I channeled energy myself, developing myself. I belong to communities and groups. I started learning, not formal education, informal education at the time. So I started working on myself, writing on daily basis. And in 22 years ago, I met this friend. That time I had already started speaking on Facebook. So I was having a live video on culture shock, and it resonated with somebody who jumped on my live. After we've had a conversation, and I realized she's an author. So I'm writing a book. She connected with, and so I started working with her. And then I published my first book. And this has been one of my breakthroughs. Yeah.
Wow. I really love how you just took charge of your own life.
Yeah.
And this is a proper definition of when people say that no one is coming to save you. You gotta save yourself.
Exactly.
You took charge. You stopped seeing yourself through the eyes of people who were seeing you as incapable of doing things. You stopped allowing yourself to see yourself through their eyes and take charge of yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. So pain made me to start facing my truth. You understand? Because previously I was so vulnerable that I was even afraid to share my story with people. So in fact, I was only writing it down. I didn't think of publishing it into a book. But now my story has become my message. And what has helped me in future, in the past, has trained me. It is apparently training me for what is ahead of me in future.
Wow. You took hold of your pain and you used that pain to build your future.
Yeah.
That is powerful. That is absolutely powerful. So this is a reminder to anyone who's watching this. No matter what you're going through, no matter what life it keeps throwing at you, you still have the power to rewrite your story, the power to step into the purpose that the Most High has aligned over your life. Veronica had to step back into the purpose that was aligned for her life, the calling of her life. And I love the example that you gave, the example of the tree, how it goes through different seasons.
Yeah,
There's a
the
time for
weaver.
shedding. Yeah. There's a time for the leaves withering, shedding of leaves. The tree could be brown. And then there's a time now when the tree is green.
Yeah.
And if you allow yourself to visualize your life as going through different seasons, it actually makes things more bearable to go through them, because you know that, you know what, yes, I'm going through this, but it's a season. It's not permanent.
Season, there is hope.
Indeed, there is hope. Yeah. There is hope. There
Yeah.
is hope, absolutely.
Yeah. Because the tree does not cry when it was going through that season, when it withered, when its leaves were falling. It didn't cry. It was only having hope that summer will come and the leaves will be green again. So, and one thing in life, you don't have control over how people treat you. You don't have control over what people think about you. You don't have control, absolutely no control over how people perceive you. But how you react to those things, you have control. You can respond to those things. Yeah. Instead of
how you respond.
Yeah, that you can control it. But you cannot control their mind, what they should think about you, what they should believe about you. But how you react to some of those things, you have control over that.
And whilst I'm listening to you, this is what is coming in my mind or in my head. Don't give people power over your life. This is exactly how you give people power. You mentioned we can't control what people say. And we're in a world whereby people are so miserable. It's like people are trying to hurt people. On social media, you just see how wicked, and you just see a whole lot of characters. But we can't control them, like you said. But you can control the way you respond. So ultimately, in short, the way you respond is going to play out with regards to how you've responded. Thank you for just highlighting that, because people do need to realize that the power is within you. How you're going to respond to people, you can either give them the power or you can disarm them.
Yes, because my sister, what people think about you, how people perceive you, shouldn't have any effects on your life. I know my value. For instance, if you call me a person with disability who is incapable, but within me, I know I'm capable. I know the things that I can do, and people are seeing my results. So they cannot keep on perceiving you that way forever. There will come a time that they will surrender. They will come and share the glory with you. So you don't have to concentrate on that. Channel the energy. The most important thing is keep on seeking knowledge. Keep on developing yourself. Keep on shining. I always say this, in your small corner. And very soon, when they see your light, people will resonate and they will come to you. They will come and share their glory with you. So me, if you refer to me as a person with disability, if you would like, call me any name that you want. It doesn't change anything. I know my value. I know what I can do. And I have the results are there. Yeah.
And I love that you have gotten to a place whereby you are not allowing anybody to define you. You're not allowing any tags. Whoever's got their tags, that's their problem. You can't change it, because you know who you are. And that's a powerful place to be, because anyone can throw whatever they want to throw, but it's not going to stick. Veronica, you often spoke about acceptance and resilience, right? You mentioned that pain and resilience go hand in hand. And you also shared with us how you were so resilient despite whatever you were going through. Let's talk about acceptance. And that word acceptance can be misunderstood because people interpret things differently. Someone's interpretation of acceptance is different from someone else's interpretation of acceptance. What did acceptance really look like in your own life?
Great question. I'm happy you are bringing this up. Acceptance is a very great tool, and it did play a very big role in my life. Acceptance, for example, I have come to realize that I am a person with disability. I cannot change that fact. There is nothing I can do about it. I can only manage to live with it. So I once read a book. That book is titled Everything is Figure-Outable. And there were 3 principles of life in that book. The first one, I think he said that every problem you go through in life will one day come to an end, or it's figure-outable. Yeah. If it is not figure-outable, then it is a fact of life. Fact of life is that I am a person with disability and I cannot change it. Death is a fact of life. So if it is a fact of life, you cannot change it. You have to live with it. And so if you realize that things that are fact of life are things that you don't have any control over, you cannot do anything about them. You accept them, you live with them, and you thrive. So I have come to understand this is who I am. I cannot change it. And so why do I continue to keep on crying? So let me channel on my energy on things that will help me to thrive, things that will help me to develop myself, things that will help me to manage to live with my disability. So you cannot keep on crying forever. And if you have come to this stage of life, you are free because you don't get worried anymore. It is what it is. You cannot change that fact if it is a fact of life. So if the problem is not figure-outable, if you couldn't do anything about it, then it means it is a fact of life. If it is a fact of life, accept it and live with it. Manage it, live with it.
That is powerful, Veronica. You have to assess things and see if you use the word figurative. Am I able to change this situation? If it's a no, then why worry about it? Because there's nothing you can do about it. You can't change it. And I think that is so powerful. If a lot of people go around with that kind of mindset to say, I'm going through this kind of discrimination or this is what I'm facing, but I can't change the situation.
So I was speaking to a very good friend of mine. You know, in Ghana, you are never referred to with your name. I think I have already said this. People describe you with your disability, either the blind woman or the woman in the wheelchair or the woman with the crutches. So one day I was trying to sensitize somebody, and a friend of mine, and she said, Veronica, it has been like that. You cannot, if you want to fight, then you keep on fighting forever because you cannot change it. It has been like that. So now I have come to accept, even though I continue to do advocacy and to sensitize people, but if you refer to me as the woman with disability or the woman in the wheelchair, that does not define me, because probably the kind of things that I'm able to do, you without crutches, you without a wheelchair, you are not able to do some of those things. So why should I be worried because you are referring to me as a person with disability? It is true. I am a person with disability and I cannot change it. But I'm trying to live a life that will glorify God. That's it.
Wow. I'm trying to live a life that will glorify my Maker, the Most High. And that is the most important thing. That's the most important task that we have here. Wow. That is powerful. I really love the stand that you have taken now in your own life and not allow people's opinions, people's ignorance to determine how you move in your own life.
Yeah.
And one other thing that you said was, yes, I might be in a wheelchair, I might be disabled, but there are certain things which I'm able to do, which you might not be able to do. And that is so true. There are people who are not using wheelchairs out there. There are people who have it all, but do they have the stamina to go on camera right now and start sharing their story
Yeah.
like you're doing?
Yeah.
They don't.
They
So
don't.
nobody has it all. They don't. And you taking the time to, it takes a lot of strength. It's not anybody who can just sit on a camera because everybody wants to camouflage their life. They want their life to look all packaged and proper and prime. So for you to come and sit here and share what you went through and then have someone trying to put a barrier in your life that you can't do this, no. Because there are people who have got the ability to walk, but they do not have the ability to sit on camera and talk.
Yeah. You know, people used to think that vulnerability is a weakness, but vulnerability is a strength. It takes somebody who is strong to be able to share their vulnerability. Because, you know, where we come from, you share your vulnerability and you are judged. People judged you. People
Yeah,
perceive
true.
you in some way. They have, but when you are strong, you don't really care about what people say. You share your vulnerability to encourage other people that we are all humans and we all
Yeah,
are going through something. Everybody is
yeah.
dealing with
Oh, yeah.
something in one way or the other. And so it takes somebody who is strong to sit on camera and share their vulnerability. I see vulnerability as a strength rather than a weakness.
That is so true. It is a strength. Whoever says it's a weakness actually made it up because it's when you become vulnerable that you're able to connect with people.
Exactly.
Veronica, do you think that the experiences that you faced of rejection and discrimination, do you think that has helped to shape the strength within you? And
Of course.
that might not have happened otherwise if you had not gone through what you went through.
Yes, then I think I wouldn't be where I am now without those challenges, without discrimination and stigma. I wouldn't be where I am now. That is why I said at the early part of this interview that those things have shaped my life right now. Let me give you an example. I do not remember the name of the woman, but she was a
Mm,
black woman and
yeah.
she experienced hair loss in America. And people stigmatized her, people stereotyped her. And so this woman was thinking, oh, I can't remember her name. JC Moore. JC Moore is her name.
Hmm.
People can Google her. And so this woman went through stigma because of her hair loss. People judged her, they stigmatized her, they put her down. And she was thinking of a solution to her hair, what she could do. She used many products. She still couldn't find any solution to her hair loss. Then she had an idea of things
Hmm.
that home remedies that she could put together to solve that problem. Eventually, she found a solution to that problem. And do you know that solution to her
Yeah.
problem became a product that helped other women? And she became very rich. So sometimes when you go through difficult life situations, and you are able to find solutions to some of those problems, it
Yeah.
becomes like a template, like a blueprint for other
Hmm.
people also. So problems are good. They trigger you, you know,
Yeah.
they trigger you to be angry and take actions that will become like something that will help other people. Yeah.
And I hope a whole lot of people that are going to be watching this, your story, do realize what exactly you've just said. Because a lot of people, like I was saying, everybody wants to, if you look at social media right now, everybody wants to look prime and proper, like everything's going well. They've got no issues, no problems whatsoever. And yet, it's those things that you're hiding that you can actually, or those things that you went through that you're trying to hide under the carpet that you can actually use, capitalize that, and help someone else. I don't know if you agree with me, Veronica, that the things that we go through, they're not for you. They're for someone else.
Yeah.
And that leads me to my next question, Veronica. Let's talk about the Challenge Foundation. You are the founder of the Challenge Foundation.
Yeah.
What was the moment that made you realize that your story wasn't just something that you survived, but something that you can actually use and help others? At what point did you realize that?
So I came to that realization when I hopped on Facebook and I started sharing my story. It resonated. A lot of people reach out to me behind the scenes and they will go like, before I couldn't post a full picture of myself on social media. It's either a portrait because I did not want people to see my disability. But when I became authentic, you mentioned that right now. Some people are hiding their authenticity. They don't want to come out and share their story as raw as it is. And so I came out, I showed up, and I started telling it as it is. And this is how it resonated with a lot of people. There was this lady, she's a teacher, but she's also a wheelchair user. And she said to me, "Sister, when I saw you in a wheelchair, it resonated with me. Do you know that I couldn't post a full picture of myself on social media, but you have encouraged me. And now I know that all the stories you've been sharing is authentic because I didn't know you were a person with disability. I thought you've just been sharing experiences about them, but now I know." So because I was authentic, it resonated with a lot of people and they got attracted to me. That time I realized that my life stories should not end with me. I have just said that your life difficulties or your journey could be a blueprint for other people. And so I realized that. And that was one of the reasons why I started documenting my story so that it will not end with me. Yeah. People are going through stuff. They are going on their own similar journeys. So they will be like a form, or my stories will be like a form of guide for other people who are going through similar life challenges like me. So that time, when people started reaching out to me, sharing some of their problems, their challenges, I realized that I needed to found this NGO so that we can come together as a group and then empower ourselves. And it's exactly what I'm doing now. We do mentorship, we do empowerment, we do coaching, we do capacity building and a whole lot of stuff to bring persons with disabilities on their feet once again.
And also, you sharing your story has brought a lot of enlightenment, even for myself, because there are certain things that you don't know what someone else has gone through unless you have walked those shoes. So this will bring a lot of awareness and make people be more sensitive and less ignorant of what people are actually going through, and they don't realize it. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome. So when I had my book launch in Germany here in March, my audience were typically Germans, and some of them had no idea about racism and discrimination. But that book launch has given them that awareness. So when we finished, yeah, they came to me and they were like, we have never heard stories like this before. Thank you for sharing with us. So, like you said, sharing some of these things bring enlightenment, awareness to
Yeah.
other people who might not have experienced some of those things firsthand.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think if you had stopped and given in to all these opinions and all these barriers, where will you be right now? A lot of those lives that you're touching right now, they would not have been touched because they would not have had that opportunity to be able to hear your story.
Yeah.
And Veronica, for people who are hearing about your work for the very first time, what is the mission behind the Challenge Foundation and the change that you are hoping to create in this world? Tell us more
All
about
right.
your mission.
Right. Thank you very much. So, our slogan, we have a slogan that says, we want our voice to be heard. We want to keep on shouting. We want to keep on speaking, no matter how many times we've been asked to keep quiet. We want to keep on speaking, keep on screaming until the whole world hear about us. And they'll have to learn to treat us well, to include us, because
Yeah.
we're human beings too. And so, but apart from that, I use my personal life experiences to encourage other persons with disabilities. Like I have mentioned earlier on, we do empowerment, we do capacity building, we do mindset orientation, because we ourselves, we also need to change our mindset as well. Because, life is difficult in Ghana, and we cannot depend on politicians alone. We need to
Yeah.
do something for ourselves. We need to take initiatives. And so I am very much interested in mindset orientation more than the other things, because advocacy change actually starts with individuals. If you want change, you have to create it, you have to start it, and other people will follow. What I'm doing right now, I'm creating change. So it is attracting people to also follow that path. And so basically, this is what I do.
Wonderful. And through your work, I want to believe that you've met a lot of people who are facing challenges. What are some of the common struggles that you see most people are carrying that others may not realize? Like you've just shared your story. There's certain things which I didn't realize until hearing the story that people with some form of disability might experience. So, what are some of those challenges that you have noticed that the people that have come to you are experiencing, but the people around them are not fully aware of it?
Yeah, so basically, some of those experiences revolves around stigma. Do you understand? People do not want to associate with you because they have what I would call a standard for you. If you are a person with disability, it's either you are poor, you are uneducated, you are not supposed to belong to a particular group, ethnic group in society. Another thing is prejudice. You have been tagged. For instance, that persons with disabilities behave in a specific way. I told you about somebody who did not want to associate with me because she's heard that persons with disability are witches and wizards. Also, we are quick-tempered, and she did not want to experience any of those things from me. So you are perceived, you are prejudiced. Yeah, I think that's the word. And then discrimination. Discrimination. You are treated differently. Do you understand? People,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, they don't want to, even in our families, different opportunities are given to different people, and you are treated because you have a challenge in a different way, because you have a challenge. I told you in secondary school, nobody cared about me. Nobody cared about me. Nobody will even help you. I don't know if that has changed right now. Then another thing is inaccessibility. Inaccessibility. structures are not, even in Germany here, comparatively, when you compare Germany to Ghana, of course, it's a developed world, it is better, but it is not all inclusive. There are events like 2 weeks ago, I went out for an event. And
Yeah.
my sister, before I was able to walk up there, it was on a hilly place, and they will not allow you to park a car close to the event center. And so I was with a friend who said to me, you see the reason why a lot of persons with disabilities are indoors. They don't want to come out because the places, event centers are not accessible. I'm in Germany and I'm speaking from experience. So, inclusion problem. These are some of the things that we go through, and it makes life, I'm preparing a video on how I don't feel like I fit in this world. Because everywhere you go, there are barriers. You are excluded. It's like the world does not think about yourself. Even in Germany, where people are trying as much as possible to be inclusive, I go for events and sometimes I'm not able to enter. So these are some of the problems we face as persons with disabilities, if you ask me.
Wow. Oh. It's a hard pill for me to sit here and listen to this because, like, truly, if you have not walked in those shoes, you've got no clue what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels unfair. It does feel unfair, and I think the more people hear these kind of things, the more awareness, the more things will be put in place.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Veronica,
a specific example, when I was learning German, there were several times that the lifts or the elevator got broken and I had to stay at home. But these same classes, you are supposed to attain a certain number of percentage of attendance for you to write the exams. And anytime I stayed home, nobody will give me those points. I lost those points, even though it wasn't my fault. But the teacher would tell me, you are not here, and I could not do anything about it. And I couldn't go through the stairs. So it is sometimes we really don't feel like we belong to this world. We don't fit into this world. And I'm preparing a video on that I'll share one of these days. Thank you.
And I'm so glad that you have decided to be an advocate. Because what better person than someone who's actually lived it and are experiencing it? And I believe your message might reach one or two more people that can make a change. Obviously, you can't change the whole system, but trust me, your seeds are going to be sown here and there and bring a bit of change. So, Veronica, I want you to speak to someone. I want you to speak to someone who's listening right now, and that person feels limited by their circumstances, and you know how that feels. That person feels like there is a boundary that has been put right in front of them. It could be they feel limited because of their circumstances, their disability, or even society's expectations over their lives. What is the first step that you would encourage them to take today? What would you encourage that person?
Right. So I always see life beyond limitations. And that is why if I'm asked to describe myself, I always say that I see myself as the fish in an aquarium looking into the sea. I don't see boundaries. Yeah. Boundaries are in your mind. Weakness is in your mind. Strength is in your mind. And so if you are watching me, in as much as the world or individuals may create limitations for you, you can break some of those limitations. What is important for you to do is to seek knowledge, seek development, keep on developing yourself, keep on seeking knowledge. And that is what will take you beyond some of those limitations. People do not create limitations for us. We create limitations for ourselves in our mind. And so you can always break those barriers. It depends on you. Believe in yourself and follow your passion. Find your purpose, your North Star, and follow it with seriousness, with discipline. And there will be no barrier for you. I always look for places to expand. I keep on growing. I keep on learning. I am not perfect. And so you don't have to sit down for you to be perfect before you start something. Start where you are. That is the most important thing. Thank you.
Start where you are. Yeah. Wow. Start where you are right now. Look for ways to grow.
Exactly.
Within yourself. Important. Educate yourself.
Educate yourself, because knowledge gives you confidence. Yes.
Knowledge gives you confidence.
When I say knowledge,
power.
They think that they are already old. I'm not young. What I did when I was stuck in Germany is I couldn't go back to the classroom at the time. But I started with informal education. I started watching podcasts, educative ones. I started reading and watching educative videos. Do you understand? I started listening to books on YouTube. And this is how I started. But as I speak to you right now, I am doing a master program in coaching and mindfulness.
Well done. Well done to you. Because if you're going to be looking at your age and you're just limiting yourself, who says you're too old? Who's giving the definition of old as in you are too old to do anything? Who is holding that yardstick and saying, you are too old? Too old for who? I believe you're as old as you feel. There are people who can be way younger than yourself, but they have already placed blocks over their lives. Exactly. And there's someone who's maybe in their 80s, in their 90s, and they've got this mind that they really want to grow in knowledge. And who is anybody to stop anybody from growing or acquiring knowledge? Because with that knowledge, that is where the power comes. I'd rather be learning something new at age 80 and acquire more knowledge and power than to just be rotting at home, feeling all retired, doing nothing. So power to you. Power to you. Veronica, you've turned your experiences into advocacy, into leadership, and impact as well. Because you are making impact. Whatever you're sharing out there is making impact. You've already also made an impact on myself whilst listening to your story. What projects or initiatives or goals are you mostly excited about right now?
Okay, so currently when I founded the Challenge Foundation, accessing grants was kind of very, very difficult for me. I was financing everything from my own coffers at the time. Lucky for me enough, I have been found on social media by an international organization. And so we've been, for the first time in the life of the Challenge Foundation, we've been able to access a grant to do advocacy work in Ghana. Currently, I am managing, or the Challenge Foundation is managing that funds in Ghana. And apart from that, we have exchange empowerment programs that I do for persons with disabilities. We meet periodically and get resource people to train us on different stuff like AI, leveraging on social media for visibility. We do different kinds of trainings. Apart from that, I think that I also am a speaker. So if you have a group and you want somebody to touch the hearts of your
Mm.
your group, you invite
Mm-hmm.
me and I will do that. Apart from that, I also organize sessions for people. I have different books on Amazon. This is my first book titled Silent Battles, Bold Victories: My Triumph Over Disability and Discrimination. And this is a memoir. It's a hybrid of social economic issues. And so if you are going through your own journey of life difficulties, this book will go for you. Apart from that, everybody go through life switches. We all go through different life stages, and so if you are experiencing something like that right now, this book is for you because it recorded my life switches. When I was stuck in Germany, the tools that I use to leverage on. I have been saying that you need to get ready. You need to be like a soldier. You need to prepare yourself so that when the door opens, you can walk in majestically. But if you don't prepare, you will not be able to walk through the door, even though it will be open for you. So this one has the various tools I use to leverage on to shape my life, or what I did when I was going through stagnation. And that's here is for people who lack discipline. Discipline in a different meaning. When you get the book, you understand the kind of discipline that I'm speaking about. Consistency. You need to show up with authenticity. Mm-hmm. You are somebody who struggle with discipline. This one is a workbook and it goes for you. This is also a workbook. It asks you reflective questions. So by the time you finish reading this book, you will kind of be able to carve a path. And the last one is titled My Life Principles, What I Have Learned Through My Life. It is also recorded here. And so all of these are on Amazon. There are people, Amazon, who also want to kind of find their passion. And so I also have a workbook on there. And so, depending on your needs, you can get any of these materials on Amazon to help you. Thank you. You can also book for one-on-one sessions with me, depending on your needs. Thank you.
So finally, Veronica, for anyone who has connected with your story and wants to learn more about your work, because I believe a lot of people are going to connect with your story. Yeah. And they want to learn more about your work, and some of them might want to support your mission, or they want to connect with you. Where can they find you?
All right. So I'm on social media. I'm very, very visible and active on social media. On LinkedIn, I am Veronica Lomfa Amartey on LinkedIn. I'm also on Facebook as Lady Nika Darling. On TikTok, I'm also there as Lady Nika Darling. But the Challenge Foundation is also on TikTok as the Challenge Foundation. We are also on YouTube as the Challenged Foundation. And our official website is www.thechallengedfoundationgh.org.
Awesome. Thank you, Veronica. And one more thing before we finish, Veronica, if there's someone who is listening today and they are standing in a difficult chapter, it might not be disability, it might be something else, but we know that they're in a difficult chapter right now, a difficult chapter of their life, and they're wondering whether they have the strength to keep going. In one sentence, what would you want them to remember in one sentence?
Okay, so if you are watching me and you are grappling with a similar life challenges, I want you to remember the metaphor of the tree. It is a season. It is a season, and it will pass away. So always remember, when the trees wither in winter, when the leaves fall, when it becomes yellow, When it looks like it's dying, the tree does not cry. It waits for the season to change so that it will gain strength again. It has hope and it waits patiently for that season to come so that the leaves will become green again. We will gain strength again. It looks beautiful in summer. And so it is exactly what you go through. So whatever you are going through, just try to rediscover yourself. Know that if it is something that you cannot change, then it is a fact of life. So look for ways that you can manage to live with that thing. It is called acceptance, finding acceptance, accepting the situation and moving on. Move on in life. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Veronica. Thank you so much. On behalf of my audience and for myself as well, I want to say thank you so much for taking us on your journey and sharing your story. You really brought a lot of insight. Even to myself, I've learned some things that I was not truly aware of. And thank you so much for helping people, because I believe your story is going to help a lot of people come out of the biases that they have, the ignorance that they have. So once again, thank you so much for sharing your story.
It's a pleasure, and I would love to take the opportunity to say a very big thank you to you for giving me this opportunity on your reputable channel. Thank you.
Thank you. And if you've watched this video right to the end, I want to start off by saying thank you so much. And do me one favor, subscribe to this channel if you have not already subscribed, and like this video. By subscribing to this channel and liking this video, you are supporting this platform. So go ahead and press subscribe and like this video. And once again, thank you so much, Veronica, for sharing your story. Thank you for being open, and thank you for taking us along with you through your life journey. Veronica's story is a reminder that resilience isn't about pretending that life is easy. It's about continuing forward even when life isn't easy. We heard it in Veronica's story. She went through a lot of challenges, a lot of stigma, ignorance, both in Ghana and presently in Germany. She persevered. She showed resilience, even during the times when she could have simply given up. So throughout this conversation, we've heard about how stigma, discrimination, and adversity could have shaped her identity, but instead they became a part of her purpose. Veronica refused to be a victim. As we can see now, she is out there making an impact and bringing more awareness around disability. One thing that really stood out for me is that acceptance doesn't mean settling. It means embracing who you are while refusing to let limitation define you. Whatever stages that we are in our life, whatever you're going through today, someone else has gone through it. Just stay in there and don't let what you're going through define you, but use that as the purpose of your life. I normally love to leave a scripture for my viewers. You might not be a believer, but I believe that this verse that I'm going to share might resonate with you. You might find hope. You might find peace in the verse. I'm going to share a verse that I believe goes beautifully with Veronica's story, and that is Isaiah 41, verse 10. It reminds us, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." So whatever season you're going through right now, whatever challenges you are going through right now, I hope this verse will help you find the peace, the strength, the tenacity, the resilience that you are looking for, by simply knowing that your Creator is upholding you in his mighty right hand. If today's conversation has encouraged you, be sure to share it with someone who needs to hear this reminder. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on any of the conversations that we will be having here. And remember, your circumstances may shape part of your story, but they do not get to write the ending. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Breakthrough Moments with Sandy. So me and Veronica are checking out. Bye-bye.